Hi, this is Stephen Brower. This will be the last video for Chapter 4. Then I'll have a separate video then for Chapter 5. So one of the first videos took a look at the process state diagram and how a process goes from state to state. This is taking a look at the thread state diagram and how a thread goes from state to state. Now, just like we saw with the process control block, the process control block can information about the process and what state it's in and sort of a snapshot of memory. The thread control block then has the same thing. Unlike the processes where it's the submission of a job where a process is then created, here it is a thread is spawned from a process. So a process will begin a thread. We'll create a thread and it would be here in the created state. Once that thread is ready, it's submitted to the ready state, and then that's where eventually it goes to the end of the queue. Again, this is like a queue. It's at the end of the queue. Beginning of the queue would be the next thread then to run. When it's then the first thread is taken from the, I have a little foreground issue here. Oops. Anyway, the thread goes to the running state. Now, how a thread gets out of the running state. Now, my diagram here isn't exactly matching what's in terms of the book. It does go into one of these possible states, and then from these states, it will then go into ready. And I just don't have hours showing it getting out of delayed or out of blocked. But if a thread then, for some reason, then needs to be stopped, whether it's being delayed or it's blocked or it's waiting, because it's waiting for I/O or something like that, it goes to the appropriate state, which means it gets on the appropriate queue. The thread control block is updated with what its current state is. When it was coming out of the running state, a snapshot is made of the registers in terms of memory so that later when it does resume, it can restore what the memory is. After the thread comes out of either the waiting, delayed, or block state, it's ready again, and then from ready it then goes into running, and this will keep happening until the thread finishes. Depending on how a thread is started, sometimes threads are begun by a process to finish something and then terminated. Some other times a thread is run or submitted to run concurrently with a process, and then when the process ends, the thread ends. So something like when you're in Word with doing spell check, as long as you're in Word, then the thread for spell check would be sort of in memory until finally Word is terminated. Therefore, the thread for spell check is terminated. But at some point, whether it's the process ending or whether the thread is just complete, complete meaning it doesn't have to run again until the process recreates it, then it goes to the finished state.